Rain hammers the asphalt like bullets on a tin roof. Thunder rolls across the Montana sky, low and angry. Through the downpour, a single figure stands in the parking lot of a rundown motorcycle clubhouse. Water streams down his weathered face. His hands hang loose at his sides. Not threatening, not afraid, just ready. Dalton Grimes is 68 years old. 20 years ago, he was a Navy SEAL senior chief. Tonight, he's something else entirely. A neon sign flickers behind him. Red, then dark, then red again. The words Red Devils MC bleed into the wet pavement like spilled blood. His voice cuts through the storm. Not loud, not soft, just certain. 72 hours, he says to no one in particular. That's all the time I had before everything went to hell. 72 hours to save a girl I barely knew. Or lose everything I'd built in 15 years of peace. The clubhouse door swings open. Light spills out. Silhouettes of men. Big men. Angry men. Dalton doesn't move. The rain keeps falling, and somewhere in the darkness, a clock starts counting down. 72 hours, 71 hours, and 59 minutes. 71 hours and 58 minutes. The screen goes black. A heartbeat pulses in the silence. Then we jump back. 48 hours earlier, Thursday morning in Riverside, Montana, breaks clean and cold. Cold enough to make your bones ache if you're old enough to have bones worth aching. Main Street is 3 blocks of brick buildings that haven't changed much since 1985. A hardware store, a diner, a post office, and on the corner of Main and Fisher, a small pizza place with a hand-painted sign. Grimes Corner Pizza. Inside, flour dust hangs in the air like morning fog. The ovens radiate heat. The smell of rising dough fills every corner. And behind the counter, Dalton Grimes works his hands through a ball of dough with the kind of rhythm that only comes from doing something 10,000 times. His hands tell a story. Scars crisscross his knuckles. A long white line runs from his left wrist to his elbow. Another disappears under his sleeve, climbing toward his shoulder. These aren't cooking scars. These are what you get when young men with guns try very hard to kill you and you refuse to die. But his hands move gently now, kneading, folding, shaping. There's poetry in the motion. The same hands that once assembled a rifle in 14 seconds now shape pizza dough into perfect circles. The door chimes. A cold gust of October wind follows a young woman inside. Riley Brennan, 22, has the kind of face that makes strangers want to trust her. Red hair pulled back in a ponytail. Green eyes that haven't seen enough of the world to stop believing in it. Freckles across her nose like constellations. She wears scrubs under a worn winter coat. The coat has a patch on the elbow. Careful stitching, the kind you do yourself when you can't afford to replace things. "Morning, Mr. Grimes," she says. Her accent carries a hint of Ireland. Not strong, just enough to soften the edges of her words. Dalton looks up. His eyes are blue. Glacial ice blue. Cold at first glance, but if you look closer, there's warmth underneath. Deep down. "Dalton," he corrects her. "Told you 100 times, kid. Just Dalton. Sorry, habit." She sets her backpack down behind the counter. "My da always said respect your elders. Use their surnames. Your da sounds like a good man." He was. The past tense hangs in the air for a moment. Dalton doesn't press. He learned a long time ago that some silences are meant to be respected. Riley ties on an apron. "Big orders today. 3 lunch deliveries, 2 for the county offices, 1 for the construction crew on Highway 12. And tonight," Dalton pauses. His hands stop moving. He looks at the order slip pinned to the corkboard. "1 tonight, 7:45, 5 large pizzas." "Where to?" The pause stretches longer. "Red Devils Clubhouse." Riley's hands still, just for a second, then she busies herself with wiping down the counter. "That's the motorcycle club, out past the grain elevator." "That's them? I heard things about them." "You heard right." She looks at him, those green eyes searching his face. "Should I be worried?" Dalton goes back to his dough. Fold, press, turn. "I'll take that delivery myself. Mr. Grimes, Dalton, I need the tips. Liam's surgery is in 3 months. Every dollar counts." Now it's Dalton's turn to pause. He knows about Liam, Riley's 10-year-old brother, congenital heart defect, needs a valve replacement, $80,000. The Brennans have $42,000 saved. Riley works 3 jobs. Her mother cleans houses. Her father's life insurance ran out 2 years ago. "How much you got saved now?" Dalton asks quietly. $42,615, Riley says without hesitation. "I count it every night." Dalton nods slowly. He pulls open a drawer under the register. Inside is a small envelope. He adds 2 20s to it. He does this every Thursday, has been for 6 months. Riley doesn't know. The tip from Red Devils won't be worth the risk, he says. Every dollar counts, Riley repeats. Stubborn, that Irish blood. Dalton looks at her for a long moment. In another life, he had a daughter. Sarah wanted one. They tried for years. It never happened. Then Sarah got sick, breast cancer, stage 4. She lasted 2 years, died in 2010. Left him this building and a savings account and a note that said, "Make this a place where people feel safe." He's tried. For 15 years, he's tried. Looking at Riley now with her worn coat and her fierce eyes and her desperation wrapped in politeness, he sees the daughter he never had. And something in his chest tightens. "All right," he says finally, "but you call me when you get there. And if anything feels wrong, anything at all, you leave. Forget the pizzas. Forget the money, you just leave." Riley nods. "I will." She won't. Dalton knows she won't, because people desperate enough don't leave. They push forward. They take risks. They tell themselves it'll be fine. It's never fine, but he lets it go. Because what else can he do? Lock her in the back room? She's an adult. She makes her own choices. Still, something feels wrong about this. The day moves like molasses. Slow, thick, heavy. Dalton makes dough, chops vegetables, grates cheese. The radio plays country music from a station that hasn't updated its playlist since 1992. George Strait, Alan Jackson, Garth Brooks, songs about trucks and beer and heartbreak. The same 3 topics recycled endlessly. At 11, the lunch rush hits. It's not much of a rush. 15 pizzas. But for a Thursday in Riverside, it might as well be New Year's Eve. Riley handles deliveries. She's good at it, fast on her bicycle, always smiling when she hands over the boxes. People like her. They tip well, or as well as people in Riverside can tip. She comes back at 1:30, cheeks flushed from the cold. $73 in tips. She counts it 3 times. Adds it to a mental ledger Dalton knows she keeps in a notebook at home. $42,688. The afternoon drags, a few walk-in customers, local kids who pool their allowance for a pepperoni pizza they share in the corner booth, an old couple who've been coming in every Thursday for 8 years. They always order the same thing. Small veggie pizza, extra mushrooms light on the sauce. They hold hands while they eat. Don't talk much. Don't need to. Dalton watches them sometimes. Wonders if that's what he and Sarah would have looked like if they'd had more time. By 7 o'clock, the sky outside is dark. October in Montana means the sun gives up early, throws in the towel and lets the night take over. Dalton starts on the Red Devils order. 5 large pizzas, 3 pepperoni, 1 supreme, 1 Hawaiian. He works methodically, stretching dough, ladling sauce, scattering cheese, into the oven, out of the oven, into boxes. At 7:30, Riley comes out of the back room. She's changed. Jeans instead of scrubs. A sweatshirt under her coat. Her hair is still pulled back. She looks young. Too young. "I can still take this one," Dalton offers one more time. Riley shakes her head. "I got it." He packages the pizzas into the insulated delivery bag, hands it to her. "You have your phone?" "Yes." "Charged?" "Yes." "You call me when you get there. When you hand over the pizzas. When you leave." "I know." "Riley." She stops, looks at him. His voice drops lower. Serious. "I've seen enough of this world to know when something doesn't sit right. This doesn't sit right. So if anything, and I mean anything, feels wrong, you leave. Pride isn't worth your safety. Money isn't worth your safety. You understand?" For a moment, something flickers in her eyes. Fear maybe, or recognition. But then she squares her shoulders. "I understand." She doesn't. But she says she does. And that's all Dalton's going to get. The door chimes behind her. The cold rushes in. Then she's gone, pedaling down Main Street on her bicycle with 5 pizzas balanced in the basket. Dalton watches through the window until her taillights disappear around the corner. Then he's alone. The ovens tick as they cool. The radio plays a sad song about a man who lost his wife. Dalton cleans the counter, wipes down the prep station, mops the floor. But his mind isn't on the work. His mind is on a motorcycle club 6 miles outside of town. On a girl with red hair and green eyes who needs money more than she needs safety. On a feeling in his gut that's kept him alive through 2 decades of combat in places most people can't find on a map. That feeling is screaming now. At 7:55, his phone rings. He picks up before the second ring. Riley, her voice comes through shaky. Background noise, engines, loud music, men laughing. "I'm here," she says. They're opening the boxes now. Everything okay?" "Yeah, I think so." "Get the money. Get out." "Okay." The line goes quiet, but she doesn't hang up. Dalton hears voices, muffled, then clearer. A man's voice, deep, rough. Hey, sweetheart, these pizzas are cold. Riley's voice smaller now. I'm sorry, I got here as fast as I could. It's 6 miles and 6 miles on a bike. What kind of operation you people running? I'm really sorry. If you want, I can take them back. And the sound of cardboard hitting pavement. A beat of silence, then Riley's voice barely audible. Please, I didn't mean, you didn't mean I paid $87 for cold pizza? I'll refund. The sound of flesh hitting flesh. Sharp, sudden, a gasp, a cry. The phone hits the ground. The line doesn't disconnect. Dalton hears it all, the sound of Riley hitting the pavement, the skitter of her phone across asphalt. Men laughing, one voice rising above the others. Tell your old man boss not to send little girls to do a man's job. Understand? Riley crying, trying to talk, trying to apologize. The sound of her gathering up pizza boxes, her breath hitching, then footsteps, the phone being picked up, the man's voice again. Right into the microphone. You hear that, old man? Next time, deliver the pizza yourself. Or better yet, don't deliver at all. The line goes dead. Dalton stands in his empty pizza shop, the phone still pressed to his ear, listening to silence. For 5 seconds, he doesn't move. Then he's in motion. He locks the front door, flips the sign to closed, moves to the back office. It's small, barely bigger than a closet, a desk, a filing cabinet, a safe. He kneels in front of the safe, spins the combination. The door swings open. Inside, a metal box, military green, scratched and dented from years of being transported to places that don't appear on tourist maps. He lifts the lid. Inside the box, 3 medals, silver stars, purple hearts, commendations for valor. He doesn't look at them. A folded flag, presented to him when Sarah died. Thank you for her service as a military spouse. A photograph, Dalton and 3 other men, all in uniform, desert camouflage, weapons slung across their backs. The photo is dated March 2004, Fallujah, Iraq, and underneath it all, a satellite phone, old model, military issue, works anywhere in the world as long as there's sky above you. He picks up the phone, powers it on. The screen glows green in the dim office. He scrolls through a contact list that hasn't been updated in 15 years. Names he hasn't called in a decade. Brothers he fought beside, brothers he bled with. He finds the name he's looking for. Wade Sullivan. He presses call. The phone rings once, twice, 3 times. A voice answers. Rough, gravelly, like whiskey poured over broken glass. This number's been dead for 10 years. Who the hell is this? It's Dalton. The line goes quiet. Long enough that Dalton wonders if the call dropped. Then Dalton Grimes. Yeah. Jesus Christ, I thought you were dead. Not yet. What's wrong? Dalton looks at the medals in the box, at the photo of 4 young men who thought they were invincible, at the phone that connects him to a past he's tried to bury. I need help, Wade. I need it now. The sun doesn't shine in Fallujah. It punishes. It beats down on rubble and rebar and the bodies of buildings that used to be homes. Temperature hovers at 110 degrees. The gear adds another 20 pounds of heat. Dalton Grimes, 38, has been a SEAL for 19 years, a senior chief for 6. He's run ops in the Persian Gulf, in Kuwait, in Somalia, in Afghanistan. He's seen what happens when good men make hard choices and when bad men make easy ones. Today, he's babysitting Marines. They're good Marines, young, motivated, but green. This is their first real deployment. Their first time seeing combat that isn't a training scenario where blank rounds and safety officers keep you alive. The patrol is routine. Check 3 buildings, confirm they're clear, report back. Simple. Nothing in Fallujah is simple. They're 2 blocks into the patrol when the shooting starts. It always starts the same way. A crack, then another. Then the world turns into noise and chaos and the smell of burning concrete. Contact left, someone shouts. The Marines scatter, finding cover, returning fire. Their training kicks in. They're doing okay, better than okay. Dalton is behind a wall, his rifle up, scanning, looking for targets. He sees movement. 2nd-story window, muzzle flash. He fires. Controlled bursts. The way they taught him in 1985 when he was 19 and stupid and thought war was glorious. The firing intensifies. Someone's screaming, not wounded, just scared. It happens. Fear sounds like a lot of things. Sometimes it sounds like screaming. Then Dalton sees him. A Marine, maybe 22, brown hair. Can't see his face from this angle. He's pinned down, separated from his unit, 30 yards away behind a burned-out car. 3 hostiles advancing on his position. He's returning fire, but his magazine is almost empty. Dalton can tell by the rhythm of his shots. slowing down, conserving ammo. The Marine is going to die in the next 60 seconds unless someone does something. Dalton keys his radio. This is Alpha 1. I have a friendly pinned down. Northeast corner. 3 hostiles advancing. I'm moving to assist. Alpha 1 negative. Hold your position. Air support is 2 minutes out. 2 minutes. The Marine doesn't have 2 minutes. He has 1, maybe less. Dalton makes a choice. He breaks cover, sprints across open ground. Bullets kick up dust around his feet. He doesn't think about it. Thinking gets you killed. You move, you react, you trust your training and your gear, and whatever God looks after fools who run toward gunfire. He reaches the Marine, slides in beside him. The kid's eyes are wide, terrified, but he's still fighting, still pulling the trigger even though the magazine clicked empty 5 seconds ago. Reload, Dalton shouts. The Marine fumbles for a fresh magazine, hands shaking. He drops it, curses, reaches for another. Dalton leans around the car, fires, drops 1 hostile, 2 left. They're closer now, 20 yards, 15. The Marine gets his magazine seated, chambers around, starts firing. Wild at first, then controlled. Better. Together they hold the position. Dalton fires, the Marine fires. The hostiles take cover, regroup, try to flank. It's a standoff, and standoffs in combat only end one way. Whoever has more bullets wins. Then the Apache comes screaming overhead, low enough to rattle teeth. The hostiles scatter, retreat into buildings. The fight's over. Dalton looks at the Marine, really looks at him for the first time. His name tape reads, Carver. You good? Dalton asks. The Marine nods. Can't speak yet. Adrenaline does that. Locks up your throat. What's your first name, Carver? The Marine swallows. Marcus. Marcus Carver. Dalton extends a hand, helps him to his feet. Dalton Grimes, Navy SEAL. You did good, kid. Kept your head. Kept fighting. Marcus looks at him, eyes still wide. You saved my life. You would have figured it out. No, I was dead. You saved me. Dalton claps him on the shoulder. Then don't waste it. You got saved for a reason. Make it count. Marcus nods, solemn, like he's taking an oath. I won't forget this. I owe you. You don't owe me anything. I owe you everything. They stand there for a moment. 2 men in the aftermath of violence, one older, one younger, both alive when statistics said they shouldn't be. Then the unit regroups, the patrol continues. The day moves on. Dalton doesn't think much about Marcus Carver after that. You save someone's life in combat, you move on. That's the job. You don't keep score. You don't send Christmas cards. You just hope they make it home. Hope they use that second chance for something good. 16 years later, standing in his pizza shop with a satellite phone in his hand, Dalton will remember Marcus Carver's face, the way he said, I owe you everything. And he'll wonder where that debt went, where that promise ended up. The door chimes. Dalton is on his feet before the sound finishes. The satellite phone still in his hand. Wade Sullivan still on the line. Hold on, Dalton says into the phone. Riley staggers through the door. Her coat is torn. Her jeans are dirty. The left side of her face is swelling. Red now, purple by morning. Her lip is split, blood on her chin. But she's standing. She's moving. She's alive. Riley, Dalton starts. I'm okay, she says, voice shaking. I'm okay. She's not okay. Anyone can see that. But she's upright, functioning, going through the motions. Dalton sets the phone down, moves around the counter, reaches for her. She flinches, automatic, then catches herself, lets him guide her to a chair. What happened, he asks. His voice is controlled, calm. The voice he used to use when talking down panicked soldiers. When you need someone to trust you, you can't sound angry. You can't sound scared. You have to sound like you have everything under control, even when the world is burning down around you. The one with the tattoos, he said the pizza was cold and he hit you. Yeah. She touches her face, winces. And then he pushed me. I fell. The pizzas went everywhere and he laughed. Dalton's jaw tightens. A muscle jumps in his cheek, but his voice stays level. Did he do anything else? No, he took the money I had in my pocket, $50, from my other deliveries today. Then he told me to leave. $50. Riley counts every dollar, every cent. $50 means 4 hours of work, means one step closer to 80,000, means one day closer to saving her brother. Where are they now? Dalton asks. At the clubhouse. There were maybe 12 of them, all drinking, laughing. Dalton nods slowly. He picks up his phone, puts it back to his ear. Wade, you still there? Yeah, what's going on, Dalton? How fast can you get to Riverside, Montana? A pause. Riverside, that's, 2 hours from Missoula? About that. Why? Dalton looks at Riley, at her swollen face, at her torn coat, at the way her hands shake even though she's trying to hold them still. Because I need to teach some people a lesson, and I'm too old to do it alone. Wade is quiet for a moment. Then what kind of lesson? The kind that sticks. Dalton, we're not 25 anymore. We're not even 50. We're old men. I know what we are. Do you because it sounds like you're about to do something stupid. I'm about to do something necessary. The pause stretches. Dalton can hear Wade breathing, thinking, weighing options the way they were trained to do. Mission parameters, risk assessment, probability of success versus probability of disaster. Finally, give me 3 hours. I'll bring Flint. Flint's still alive. Last I checked, lives in Wyoming, 64 years old and still shooting targets at 1,000 yards. Good. I'll need a long gun. What are we walking into, Dalton? Motorcycle club. Red Devils. Maybe 15 members. Cooks meth. Runs protection rackets. One of them just assaulted my employee. And you want to do what exactly? Dalton looks at Riley again. She's crying now, quietly, trying not to let him see. Wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. I want to make sure it never happens again. Wade sighs. The sound of a man who knows better but is going to do it anyway. 3 hours. Flint and I will be there. Don't do anything stupid until we arrive. No promises. Dalton ends the call, sets the phone down, kneels in front of Riley. Her eyes are wet, green and bright and scared. I want you to go home, he says gently. I can work. You're going home. That's not a request. But, Riley, he waits until she looks at him, really looks at him. You did nothing wrong. You hear me, nothing. What happened tonight was not your fault. It was theirs, and I'm going to make sure they understand that. You can't fight them. There's too many. I'm not going to fight them. Then what? I'm going to make them wish they'd never touched you. Something in his voice makes her stop arguing. There's a coldness there, a certainty. The voice of a man who's done terrible things to terrible people and slept just fine afterward. She nods, stands, winces again. I'm sorry, about the pizzas, about the money. Don't, Dalton's voice is firm. Don't apologize for being the victim. Don't carry their shame. Riley nods again, gathers her bag, moves to the door, stops, turns back. Mr. Grimes, Dalton, please don't get hurt because of me. Dalton smiles. It doesn't reach his eyes. Kid, I've been hurt worse than this by people scarier than them. I'll be fine. She doesn't look convinced, but she leaves. The door chimes behind her, and Dalton is alone again. He stands in his pizza shop, the place he built to honor his dead wife's wish, the place where people are supposed to feel safe. A girl just walked in bleeding. Safe. The word tastes like ash. Dalton moves through the shop, locking doors, turning off ovens, shutting down for the night. But his mind is elsewhere, planning, calculating Red Devils MC. 15 members, maybe more. All younger than him, all stronger, all meaner. In a straight fight, he'd lose, no question. 68-year-old bodies don't move like 28-year-old bodies. Reflexes slow, muscles stiffen. You get tired faster. But Dalton Grimes didn't survive 20 years as a Navy SEAL by fighting fair. He survived by being smarter, by planning better, by understanding that violence isn't about strength. It's about leverage. And he's about to teach Red Devils MC a lesson in leverage. He goes back to his office, back to the safe. This time he takes out only the photograph. 4 men in uniform, all young, all smiling like they own the world. From left to right, Wade Sullivan, weapons specialist, could build a bomb out of fertilizer and prayer. 66 now, retired in Wyoming. Flint Dawson, sniper, never missed. Not once in 12 years of active duty. 64 now, living somewhere in Wyoming, still shooting. Marcus Carver, Marine, Force Recon, saved by Dalton in Fallujah, owed a debt, and Dalton himself, younger, harder, meaner. Where did it all go, that certainty, that brotherhood, that sense that you were fighting for something bigger than yourself? Dalton doesn't know. Somewhere between Iraq and Montana, between war and peace, between 38 and 68. But he knows this: some debts don't expire, some lessons don't fade, and some men, no matter how old they get, remember how to fight. He pulls out his laptop. Old Dell, runs slow, but it works. He opens a browser, types Marcus Carver, Montana. The results load. Top hit Montana State Prison inmate database. Marcus Carver, inmate number 847293, conviction second-degree murder, sentence 25 years. Incarceration date June 2018. Eligible for parole 2038. Dalton stares at the screen. The man he saved, The man who said, "I owe you everything." In prison for murder. He digs deeper. News articles, court records, court. The story comes together in pieces. 2015. Marcus Carver discharged from the Marines for violent conduct. Dishonorable discharge. 2016. Marcus Carver arrested for assault. Charges dropped due to witness intimidation. 2017. Marcus Carver arrested for drug trafficking. Plea bargain, 2 years probation. 2018. Marcus Carver kills a man outside a bar in Billings, beaten to death with his bare hands. Witnesses say the victim said something about Marcus's family. Marcus snapped. Trial, conviction, 25 years. Dalton closes the laptop. Marcus Carver, the man he saved, the man who thanked him, the man who promised to make his life count. Wasted. All of it. Wasted. But there's more. Dalton opens the laptop again, searches Vincent Carver Red Devils. Results flood in, news articles, police reports, social media posts. Vince Carver, age 34, leader of Red Devils MC, multiple arrests, assault, drug possession, witness intimidation. Nothing ever sticks. Good lawyers, better connections. Background brother of Marcus Carver. Dalton leans back, the pieces clicking together. The man who hit Riley, the man who took her money, the man who laughed, is the brother of the man Dalton saved 16 years ago in Fallujah. The universe has a twisted sense of irony. Dalton picks up the satellite phone, dials a different number. This one he hasn't called in even longer. 15 years, maybe more. It rings and rings and rings. A recording, Montana State Prison. Inmate calls are monitored and recorded. Press 1 to accept charges. Dalton presses 1, a beat of silence, then a click, a voice. Older than Dalton remembers, rougher, but the same. Who is this? Marcus. It's Dalton Grimes. The line goes quiet, long enough that Dalton wonders if Marcus hung up. Then, Chief Grimes. Not Chief anymore, just Dalton. It's been, Jesus, 16 years. About that. Why are you calling? Dalton looks at the photograph. 4 young men who thought they were invincible. I need to talk to you about your brother. The silence that follows is different. Heavier. What about him? Marcus asks carefully. He assaulted a young woman tonight, an employee of mine. Hit her. Took her money. Marcus breathes out slowly. He's not a good man. I gathered. What do you want from me? I'm in prison. I can't control what he does. I know, but I thought you should know before I do what I'm going to do. What are you going to do? Dalton stands, looks out the window of his office, at the dark street beyond, at the empty town sleeping peacefully, unaware that somewhere 6 miles away, 15 men are laughing about hurting a 22-year-old girl. I'm going to make sure he never hurts anyone again. Dalton, Chief, you can't. Vince has people, lawyers, cops on his payroll. You go after him, it won't end well. Maybe, but it'll end. You're serious. As a heart attack. Marcus is quiet for a long time. When he speaks again, his voice is different, smaller. I owe you my life. You saved me in Fallujah. I never forgot. I remember. And I threw it away. The life you saved. I became everything I swore I wouldn't be. That's your burden to carry, not mine. Vince, he's not my brother. Dalton stops. What? He's my son. I had him when I was 20, with a woman I didn't marry. I abandoned them both, joined the Marines to escape. After I got out, after I screwed up my life, I found Vince again. Told him I was his brother because I was too ashamed to admit I was his father. But he knows. Deep down, he knows. The words hang in the air, heavy, final. Why are you telling me this? Dalton asks. Because if you're going after him, you should know. He's not evil. He's just lost. I made him lost. I taught him all the wrong things. That doesn't excuse what he did. No, it doesn't. But maybe you can save him the way you saved me. Give him a chance I wasted. Dalton looks at the phone. At this man he pulled from a firefight 16 years ago. This man who took that gift and crushed it into nothing. I'll think about it, Dalton says. Thank you. Dalton ends the call. He sits in the silence of his office. The photograph stares back at him. 4 men. One whose story is unknown. One in prison, one in Wyoming, and one standing in a pizza shop trying to figure out if saving people is worth the effort when they just destroy themselves anyway. Outside, gravel crunches, headlights sweep across the window. A pickup truck, old Ford F-150. Wyoming plates. The door opens. 2 men step out. Wade Sullivan looks exactly like Dalton expected. 66, gray beard, leather jacket, cowboy boots. Face like sun-dried leather. Flint Dawson is taller, leaner. 64 with the build of a man who never stopped moving. His eyes are pale gray. Eyes that have spent years looking through scopes at targets 1,000 yards away. They see Dalton through the window. Wade grins. Flint nods. Dalton meets them at the door. 20 years, Wade says. 20 years since I saw you last, and the first thing you do is call me to help you fight a biker gang. Motorcycle club, Dalton corrects. What's the difference? About 40 IQ points. Wade laughs, claps Dalton on the shoulder. You look old, brother. You look older. Fair. Flint extends a hand. His grip is firm, steady. Good to see you, Senior Chief. Just Dalton now. Old habits. They go inside. Dalton locks the door behind them, flips the sign, closed. He tells them everything. About Riley, about the Red Devils, about Marcus Carver, about Vince, about the debt and the waste and the whole twisted chain of cause and effect that led to a 22-year-old girl getting hit in the face over cold pizza. When he's done, Wade and Flint sit in silence. Finally, Wade speaks. So what's the play? Honestly, I don't know yet. You called us here and you don't have a plan. I have the beginning of one. I need to fill in the middle. Flint leans back. We're not young anymore, Dalton. We can't just kick in doors and shoot our way out. I know. So we use our heads instead of our fists. That's the idea. Wade grins. I always liked you, Dalton. You were the smart one. Someone had to be. They spread a map of Riverside on the table, marked the location of the Red Devils clubhouse, 6 miles northeast. Old auto repair shop converted into their headquarters. How many? Flint asks. 15, maybe more. Weapons. Assume they're armed. Pistols at minimum, probably rifles. Security. Cameras, guards at the door, maybe motion sensors. Wade whistles. They're prepared. They're criminals. They're always prepared. So how do we get in? We don't. Dalton taps the map. We make them come out. Over the next hour, they plan. They scheme. They use every lesson learned in 20 years of SEAL training. Every trick. Every tactic. By midnight, they have a plan. It's not perfect. It's risky. But it's something. 48 hours, Dalton says. We gather intel for 48 hours. Then we move. Wade nods. And if something goes wrong, Dalton looks at the clock on the wall, watches the second hand sweep around, each tick bringing them closer to whatever comes next. Then we improvise. Outside, the Montana night is cold and clear, stars scattered across the sky like broken glass. The town of Riverside sleeps, but in a small pizza shop on Main Street, 3 old men prepare for war. Not the kind with tanks and helicopters. Not the kind that makes the news. The quiet kind. The kind that happens in shadows. The kind where 3 men who should be retired and fishing decide that some things are worth fighting for. A girl with red hair and green eyes, and a brother who needs $80,000 for surgery. Justice that the law won't provide. A debt 16 years old finally being called in. The clock on the wall ticks forward. 48 hours. 47 hours and 59 minutes. 47 hours and 58 minutes. The countdown has begun. And somewhere in the darkness, Vincent Carver has no idea that the old man who owns a pizza shop used to be the most dangerous type of killer the United States government ever trained. He's about to learn. Friday morning breaks over Riverside like a bruise. Purple sky fading to gray. The kind of dawn that makes old bones ache and old memories surface uninvited. Dalton stands in his kitchen above the pizza shop. Black coffee in a chipped mug. No sugar, no cream. The way he's been drinking it since boot camp in 1985 when a drill instructor told him real men don't dilute their coffee, and 19-year-old Dalton believed everything drill instructors said. He's older now, knows better. But some habits stick like scars. His phone buzzes. Text message from Wade. In position. Nothing moving yet. Dalton texts back. Copy. Maintain observation. They started surveillance at 0500. Wade parked 300 yards from the Red Devils clubhouse. Old hunting blind overlooking the property. Good sightlines, better concealment. Flint's with him, 2 sets of eyes. 2 sets of skills honed over decades of watching people who didn't want to be watched. The plan is simple. 48 hours of intelligence gathering. Count the members. Map their routines. Identify weaknesses. Cameras. Guards. Shift changes. Who comes? Who goes? Who's important and who's expendable? You don't fight an enemy you don't understand. First rule of warfare. Know your opponent better than they know themselves. Dalton finishes his coffee, rinses the mug, sets it in the dish rack. Same spot every morning. Routine, structure, the things that keep chaos at bay. His phone rings, not Wade this time. Unknown number. He answers. Yeah. A woman's voice, familiar. Mr. Grimes, it's Riley. Dalton's grip tightens on the phone. You okay? I'm fine. I wanted to say I'm not coming in today. My mom thinks I should rest. Your mom's right. But the shop will survive one day without you. Take care of yourself. Silence on the line. Then did you do something last night after I left? No. Are you going to do something? Dalton looks out the window, at Main Street waking up, at the hardware store opening, at Mrs. Patterson sweeping her porch like she does every Friday for the past 30 years. Normal, peaceful, safe. I'm going to make sure you're safe, he says. That's all. Please don't get hurt. I won't. He ends the call before she can argue. Before she can ask questions he doesn't want to answer. The truth is simple. He's going to hurt people. The only question is how many and how badly. Downstairs, the shop stays closed. First time in 15 years Dalton hasn't opened on a Friday. He puts a sign in the window. Closed for family emergency. It's not entirely a lie. Riley's become something like family, the daughter he never had. And when family gets hurt, you respond. His phone buzzes again. Wade. Got movement. 3 bikes leaving. Heading south toward town. Dalton moves to his laptop. Pulls up the traffic camera feeds he's not supposed to have access to. A buddy from his SEAL days works it for the county. Owed Dalton a favor from 1996. Favors like that don't expire. He watches 3 motorcycles cruise down Highway 12, Harley-Davidsons, loud pipes, chrome gleaming in the weak morning sun. They stop at the diner on 5th Street. 3 men dismount. Leather vests with their Red Devils patch. Skulls and flames and the kind of imagery that's supposed to look tough, but mostly just looks cliche. Dalton zooms in. Facial recognition software. Another gift from his IT buddy. Probably illegal. Definitely useful. First biker Raymond Raydog Foster, age 41. Priors for assault and drug possession. Second biker Kyle Henderson, age 37. Weapons charge in 2019. Served 18 months. Third biker Vincent Carver. There he is, the man who hit Riley. The son of the man Dalton saved. Vince looks younger in daylight. 34 but could pass for late 20s. Tall, broad-shouldered. Snake tattoo wrapping around his right arm. The kind of man who learned early that size and violence get you what politeness won't. He's laughing, saying something to the others. They laugh too. Probably a joke, probably crude. They go into the diner. Dalton watches them through the window, sitting in a booth, ordering breakfast, acting like normal people, like they didn't assault a young woman 12 hours ago. His jaw tightens, the muscle jumps, old reflex. The body remembers anger even when the mind tries to stay calm. He forces himself to breathe. Slow, controlled. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The way they taught him in SEAL training when your heart rate spikes and you need to put a bullet through a target at 600 yards. His phone rings. Sheriff Garrett Boone. Dalton considers not answering, but that raises questions, and questions lead to complications. Morning, Sheriff, Dalton says. Dalton, heard your place is closed today. Everything all right? Family matter, nothing serious. Family didn't know you had any family left. Friend of the family, then. Semantics. Sheriff Boone is quiet for a moment. Then, this wouldn't have anything to do with Riley Brennan showing up at the clinic this morning with a swollen face, would it? Dalton's blood goes cold. She went to the clinic. Her mother took her, wanted to make sure nothing was broken. Doctor says she's fine, just bruising. But the doc's a mandatory reporter. Asked how it happened. What did Riley say? Said she fell off her bike. And you believe that? Sheriff Boone sighs. The sound of a man who's seen too much and can't fix enough. No, I don't. But if she won't tell me the truth, my hands are tied. What if I told you the truth? Then I'd say unless Riley files a complaint, there's nothing I can do. And even if she did, you know how these things go. He said she said, good lawyers, better connections. So you're telling me the law can't help her. I'm telling you the law is limited, which you already knew or you wouldn't be asking. Dalton watches Vince through the traffic camera, eating pancakes, drinking coffee, free, unpunished. Let me ask you something, Garrett, Dalton says. Off the record. Off the record doesn't exist between a civilian and a sheriff. Pretend it does. Sheriff Boone is quiet. Then, go ahead. The Red Devils. How deep does their protection go? Another pause, longer this time. Why are you asking? Curiosity. Curiosity gets people hurt, Dalton. I've been hurt before. Sheriff Boone breathes out slowly. City councilman named Davis. Owns 3 car dealerships. Red Devils wash money through them. Davis kicks back to the mayor. Mayor makes sure the DA goes easy on any arrests. It's a neat little circle. How high does it go? High enough that I can't touch it, not without evidence so airtight it couldn't leak if you threw it in the ocean. And getting that kind of evidence would require resources I don't have and warrants I'd never get. So they're untouchable. By legal means, yeah, pretty much. Dalton nods to himself. Thanks, Garrett. Dalton, whatever you're thinking, don't. I'm not thinking anything. Bullshit. I've known you 15 years. I know when you're thinking something. And right now you're thinking something that's going to land you in a cell next to Marcus Carver. Marcus is in Deer Lodge. I'd probably go to county. This isn't funny. Wasn't trying to be. Dalton, listen to me. These aren't playground bullies. They're organized criminals with lawyers and money and friends in places that matter. You go after them, they'll destroy you. Maybe. Not maybe. Definitely. We'll see. Dalton ends the call. Sheriff Boone will be angry, but he'll get over it. Good men always do. The traffic camera shows Vince and his crew finishing breakfast. They leave cash on the table. Too much. Showing off. Then they mount their bikes. Engines roar. They head back toward the clubhouse. Dalton texts Wade. 3 returning to base. ETA 10 minutes. Wade responds. Copy. We see them. The day crawls forward like a wounded animal. Slow, painful, necessary. Wade and Flint maintain surveillance. Every hour they send updates. Comings and goings. Patterns emerging. 7 a.m. 3 bikes leave. Return at 9. 11 a.m. delivery truck arrives. Beer and liquor. Commercial quantities. The driver doesn't look nervous. Probably been doing it for years. 1 p.m. a black Escalade pulls up. Tinted windows. Montana plates. 2 men get out. Suits, not bikers. They go inside, stay for 40 minutes, leave with a duffel bag. Wade sends a photo, license plate visible. Dalton runs it through his connections. The car is registered to a shell company. The shell company is owned by another shell company. The trail ends at a lawyer's office in Billings. Money laundering, just like Sheriff Boone said. 3 p.m. shift change, 4 bikers leave, 4 different ones arrive. Fresh guards, rotating security, professional. More organized than Dalton expected. He makes notes. Updates his tactical assessment. The Red Devils aren't just thugs on motorcycles. They're a business, and businesses have structure, hierarchy, weaknesses. 6 p.m. Flint sends a message. Movement, big one. Looks like a meeting. Dalton opens his laptop, watches the feed from Wade's telephoto lens. 9 motorcycles in the lot now. More arriving. 15, 18, 20. A full gathering. Can you get audio? Dalton texts. Negative, too far, but I can read lips on a few of them. Flint was a sniper. Reading lips through a scope was part of the job. Targets talk, and sometimes what they say is more valuable than a bullet. 5 minutes later. They're talking about a shipment coming in tomorrow night. Big one. Everyone needs to be present. Tomorrow night, Saturday, Dalton's mind races. A shipment means drugs. Drugs mean money. Money means everyone will be at the clubhouse. Maximum targets, maximum opportunity, but also maximum risk. His phone rings. Wade this time. Voice call. You seeing this? Wade asks. Yeah. What are you thinking? I'm thinking tomorrow night might be our window. For what? We're still in the intel gathering phase. Plans change. Dalton, we agreed. 48 hours of surveillance. Then we decide. And I'm deciding now. Tomorrow night, when they're all together. Wade is quiet. Then, what exactly are you planning to do? Good question. What is he planning? The answer crystallizes in his mind. Clear, simple, terrible. I'm going to make them think they're being hunted. I'm going to make them turn on each other. And then I'm going to give them a choice. Leave Riverside or face consequences they won't survive. That's not a plan. That's a suicide mission. You got a better idea? Yeah, we call the FBI. Let them handle it. The FBI won't touch this without evidence. And by the time they build a case, Riley's face will be healed, and she'll be too scared to testify. You know how this works, Wade. The system protects people like Vince Carver. And what happens when you become the criminal? When you cross a line you can't uncross? Dalton looks at the photograph on his desk. 4 young men in uniform. Brothers, warriors, believers in something bigger than themselves. I crossed that line a long time ago, he says quietly. In places you don't talk about at dinner parties. The only difference now is I'm choosing who deserves it. Wade sighs. You're gonna get us killed. Probably. And you're okay with that. I'm 68 years old, Wade. I've lived longer than I had any right to. If I die making sure a 22-year-old girl doesn't have to be afraid, that's a good death. Silence on the line, the kind that speaks louder than words. Finally, Wade says, Flint and I will stay on surveillance tonight. You get some sleep. Tomorrow we plan this thing properly. Copy. And Dalton. Yeah, if we're doing this, we're doing it smart. No cowboy shit. We use our heads. Agreed. I mean it. You're the smartest guy I know. Don't get stupid now. I'll try. Dalton ends the call, sits in the silence of his apartment. The day is dying outside, sunset painting the sky orange and red. Pretty, deceptive, the way beautiful things often are. He should eat, should sleep, should do all the things that keep a 68-year-old body functional. Instead, he opens his laptop, goes through old files, classified documents he's not supposed to have, operational plans from missions that officially never happened. Somalia 1998, Operation Silent Shepherd. He reads the after-action report, his own words from 28 years ago. At 0300 hours, Team Alpha discovered 5 civilian children in the target building. Mission parameters required immediate extraction of HVT. However, the presence of children created an unacceptable risk of collateral damage. Against orders, I made the decision to secure the children first. This delayed the primary objective by 14 minutes. HVT escaped, children survived. I accept full responsibility for mission failure. Below that, his commanding officer's notes. Senior Chief Grimes demonstrated exceptional moral judgment under pressure. While the mission objective was not achieved, 0 civilian casualties represents a strategic victory. Recommend formal reprimand for disobeying orders, but also commendation for preserving innocent life. Grimes embodies the values we claim to fight for. Dalton closes the file. The formal reprimand went in his jacket. The commendation never came. But those 5 children lived, grew up, probably have children of their own now. Sometimes you fail the mission to save what matters. His phone buzzes. Text from an unknown number. This is Marcus. They let me make one call. I heard what Vince did. I'm sorry. He wasn't always like this. I made him this way. If you can save him, please try. But if you can't, I understand. Some people are beyond saving. I should know. Dalton stares at the message. The man he saved 16 years ago. The man who wasted that gift. Now asking Dalton to save his son. The universe really does have a twisted sense of humor. He types back. I'll try. No promises. The reply comes fast. That's all I can ask. Thank you. Dalton sets the phone down, looks out their window at Riverside settling into night. Lights coming on in houses, families sitting down to dinner, kids doing homework. Normal life continuing unaware that 3 old men are planning violence in the shadows. His mind drifts to Sarah. What would she say? She was always the moral compass. The voice of reason when his anger threatened to override his judgment. He can almost hear her. That soft voice with a hint of Southern accent she never quite lost despite 30 years in Montana. Dal, you can't save everyone. You'll break yourself trying. I know. But you're gonna try anyway, aren't you? Yeah. Then be smart about it. Use that brain God gave you. Don't just charge in like some action movie hero. You're too old for that nonsense, he smiles. Even imaginary Sarah makes sense. Midnight comes and goes. Dalton finally sleeps, restless, dreams of Fallujah, of Marcus Carver's face when Dalton pulled him from that firefight. Young, grateful, alive. And then the dream shifts. Marcus older, harder, standing over a man he's beaten to death outside a bar, blood on his hands, rage in his eyes, the life Dalton saved being used to take another. Dalton wakes at 0400, sweating, heart pounding. He checks his phone. Message from Wade, time-stamped at 0315. Clubhouse quiet, 12 bikes in the lot. Lights on in the main building. Guards at the door changed at 0200. New shift looks bored, sloppy. We could exploit that. Dalton texts back. Good work. Maintain position. I'm heading your way at 0600. He showers, dresses, black jeans, black jacket, dark colors, force of habit. Even when you're not on a mission, you dress like you might need to disappear. At 0530, his doorbell rings. Dalton freezes. Nobody rings his doorbell at 0530. He moves to the window, looks down at the street. A sheriff's cruiser. Garrett Boone standing at the door. Looking up, he sees Dalton. Waves. Dalton goes downstairs, opens the door. Little early for a social call, Garrett. Got a call about an hour ago, Sheriff Boone says. Anonymous tip. Said there's been suspicious activity around the Red Devils clubhouse. Vehicle parked in the woods nearby. Might be hunters. Might be something else. Dalton's blood goes cold. That's so. Yeah, I'm heading out there to check. Thought you might want to know. Why would I want to know? Sheriff Boone looks at him. Really looks. The way cops do when they know you're lying but can't prove it. Because if there's someone out there watching the Red Devils, and if that someone happens to be connected to you, they should probably leave before I arrive. Hunting season doesn't start for another 2 weeks. Anyone I find out there is trespassing, and I'd hate to arrest an old friend for trespassing. Understanding passes between them. Sheriff Boone knows. Not everything, but enough. I appreciate the heads up, Dalton says carefully. I don't want trouble in my town, Dalton. I don't want dead bodies. I don't want a war. Neither do I. Then whatever you're planning, stand down. Let the system work. The system doesn't work. You said so yourself. I said it's limited, not broken. Same thing when you're the one being hurt. Sheriff Boone's jaw tightens. I've got a job to do. And right now, that job is making sure nobody gets killed. That includes you. That includes Riley. That includes every one of those bikers, whether I like them or not. Understood. Is it? Dalton meets his eyes. I'm not going to kill anyone, Garrett. That's not what this is. Then what is it? Justice that the courts won't provide. That's called vigilantism. Call it what you want. Sheriff Boone shakes his head. Tired, frustrated. You've got 30 minutes before I reach that location. If there's anyone there who shouldn't be, they better be gone. Noted. Sheriff Boone turns to leave. Stops. Dalton, I know you're a good man. I know you've done things for this country most people couldn't imagine, but this isn't a war zone. This is Riverside, and we handle things different here. Sometimes war zones and hometowns aren't as different as we'd like them to be. The sheriff drives away, taillights disappearing into the pre-dawn darkness. Dalton immediately texts Wade. Abort surveillance. Sheriff incoming. ETA 25 minutes. Extract now. The response is instant. Copy. Packing up. 15 minutes later, Wade and Flint pull up in front of the pizza shop. They look tired. Two old men who've been sitting in the cold all night watching criminals sleep. They come inside. Dalton makes coffee. Strong, black, the kind that makes your heart race and your hands shake. Close call, Wade says. Too close, Flint adds. Someone must have spotted us. Or someone wanted us to think they spotted us, Dalton says. Wade looks up. What do you mean? The Red Devils have been operating for years. They know how to spot surveillance. If they saw you, they wouldn't call the sheriff. They'd send people to handle it quietly. Then who called? Someone who wants to scare us off without violence. Someone who still believes the system works. Understanding dawns in Wade's eyes. The sheriff called himself, gave us a warning. Probably. Flint leans back. So what now? We're burned. They'll be watching for surveillance. Dalton pulls out his laptop, opens the files he compiled yesterday. We don't need more surveillance. We have what we need. He spreads the information across the table. Photos, license plates, names, schedules. 22 members total. 12 live at the clubhouse full-time. The others come and go. Vince is the leader, but he's not the brains. There's a guy named Ray Dog who handles logistics, and someone named Henderson runs security. Weapons, Flint asks. Assume everyone's armed, pistols minimum, probably AR-15s, maybe shotguns. Explosives. Unknown, but they cook meth, so they have access to volatile chemicals. Wade studies the photos. Their security is good, but not great. Rotating guards, cameras. But the cameras are consumer grade. Easy to jam, and the guards are bored. Predictable. Which gives us options, Dalton says. What kind of options? Dalton pulls up a map of the clubhouse and surrounding area. Tonight, the big shipment. Everyone will be there. That's when we move. Move how? We don't attack them. We make them think someone else is attacking them. Wade frowns. I'm not following. Dalton points to the map. Power lines run along the north side of the property. We cut power to the whole area, make it look like an outage. Then we start a fire in the woods to the south. Small, controlled, but big enough to see. They'll think it's a diversion, Flint says slowly. Exactly. They'll split their forces, some to investigate the fire, some to guard the shipment. And that's when we hit them. No, that's when we deliver a message. Dalton pulls out a piece of paper. On it, he's written in block letters, "We are watching. We know everything. Leave Riverside or face the consequences." Wade stares at it. You want to leave them a note? I want to make them paranoid, make them turn on each other, make them wonder who's watching, who knows their secrets. That's not a plan. That's psychological warfare. Exactly. An eraser named Flint leans forward. It might work. Fear is a weapon, sometimes more effective than bullets. But it's risky, Wade says. If they figure out it's us, they'll come for Riley. For you, for everyone. They won't figure it out because we're ghosts. We move fast. We leave no trace. Just like the old days. Wade and Flint exchange looks. The kind of looks that come from 20 years of working together, reading each other without words. Finally, Wade nods. All right, but we do this smart. We plan every detail, every contingency, and if anything goes wrong, we abort. Agreed. They spend the next 6 hours planning, mapping routes, timing sequences, identifying rally points and extraction paths, By noon, they have a plan. It's not perfect, but it's workable. Flint will handle Overwatch, find a position with clear sightlines, provide cover if things go wrong. Wade will cut the power. He knows electrical systems, worked construction for 10 years after leaving the SEALs. Can make it look like an accident. Dalton will start the fire and deliver the message. He's the fastest, the quietest, the most experienced at moving through hostile territory unseen. At 1300 hours, Dalton's phone rings. Unknown number. He answers. Yeah, a woman's voice. Scared. Mr. Grimes. This is Riley's mother, Kathleen Brennan. Dalton's grip tightens. Is Riley okay? She's missing. She left this morning. Said she was going to the library, but she never came home. And she's not answering her phone. Cold dread floods Dalton's chest. When did you last hear from her? 9 this morning. She texted saying she'd be home by noon. It's past 1 now. She always texts if she's late. Always. Did she say anything else? Anything unusual? Kathleen's voice breaks. She asked if I thought people could forgive terrible things. I didn't understand what she meant. I just said, yes, people can forgive anything if there's real remorse. And then she said she loved me. No. Dalton knows what this is. He's seen it before. The clarity that comes before someone does something reckless. The calm before a terrible decision. Mrs. Brennan, I need you to stay home. Stay by your phone. I'm going to find her. Should I call the police? Not yet. Give me 2 hours. I think I know where she is. He ends the call, looks at Wade and Flint. Riley's missing. Missing how? She went somewhere this morning and didn't come back. And I think I know where. Wade's eyes widen. You don't think? Yeah, I do. Dalton grabs his jacket, his keys, his phone. Where are you going? Flint asks. To stop a 22-year-old girl from getting herself killed. He's out the door before they can respond. Into his truck, engine roaring to life. The Red Devils clubhouse is 6 miles northeast. He makes it in 8 minutes, driving too fast, not caring. He parks a quarter mile away, hidden in the trees. Moves forward on foot, quiet, careful, the way he was trained. He reaches the tree line, looks down at the clubhouse. There, in the parking lot, Riley's bicycle, leaned against a fence post, and Riley herself, standing in front of the clubhouse door, alone, small, defiant, pounding on the door. I want to talk to Vincent Carver, she shouts. I know he's in there. I want to talk to him. The door opens. Vince steps out, 2 other bikers behind him. They're grinning, like wolves who just found dinner. Well, Vince says. Little delivery girl came back. You bring our pizza. I came to tell you something, Riley says. Her voice shakes, but she stands her ground. What's that? I forgive you. Vince's grin fades. What? I forgive you for hitting me, for taking my money. I forgive you. Silence. The bikers look confused. This isn't how victims usually act. Why would you do that? Vince asks. Because you're broken, and broken people hurt other people. But I'm not going to be broken too. I'm going to forgive you and move on with my life. And you're going to have to live with the fact that you hit someone who forgives you. It's a beautiful sentiment. Noble, brave. It's also the stupidest thing Dalton's ever seen, because Vince's confusion is turning to anger. And angry men who've been made to feel small do predictable things. You think you're better than me? Vince steps forward. You think your forgiveness means anything? I think it means I'm free, and you're not. Vince's hand moves to his belt, to a pistol tucked into his waistband. Dalton doesn't think, doesn't plan, just moves. He's 68 years old. His knees hurt, his back aches, his hands have arthritis that makes them stiff in the morning. But muscle memory is stronger than age, training deeper than time. He bursts from the tree line, sprinting, faster than he has any right to move. Vince sees him, eyes widening, hand closing on the pistol grip. Too slow. Dalton covers 30 yards in 4 seconds. Crashes into Vince. They go down in a tangle of limbs. The pistol skitters across the pavement. Dalton rolls, comes up in a fighting stance. Old SEAL training flooding back. Hands up, weight balanced, ready. The 2 bikers behind Vince rush forward. Flint's voice in Dalton's ear. He's wearing a concealed radio. I've got you covered. 2 hostiles advancing. The crack of a rifle. Loud, sharp. A bullet kicks up dust 6 inches from the first biker's foot. Everyone freezes. Flint's voice again. Calm, professional. Next one's in a kneecap. Back away from the old man. The bikers look around, trying to locate the shooter. Impossible. Flint's too good, too far, too hidden. Vince scrambles to his feet, looks at Dalton. Really looks. Recognition dawning. You're the pizza guy. That's right. You just assaulted me. And your friend just shot at us? He missed on purpose. Big difference. More bikers pour out of the clubhouse. 8, 10, 12, all of them armed now, pistols, one shotgun. They spread out, forming a semicircle. This is bad. This is very bad. Dalton grabs Riley's arm, pulls her behind him. When I say run, you run. Understand? I'm not leaving you. You are. That's not a request. Wade's voice over the radio. Dalton, I'm 2 minutes out. Hold position. 2 minutes. Might as well be 2 hours. Vince picks up his pistol. Doesn't point it at Dalton, just holds it. Loose, casual. You've got balls, old man. I'll give you that. But you're outnumbered, outgunned, and trespassing on private property. The girl leaves. That's non-negotiable. Why do you care so much about her? Because she's a good person, and good people shouldn't be afraid of trash like you. Vince's jaw tightens. Trash. You heard me. The tension ratchets up. Fingers move towards triggers. Dalton calculates angles, distances, odds. Not good. Even with Flint's overwatch, they're not walking away clean. Then headlights, a vehicle approaching fast. Sheriff Garrett Boone's cruiser roars into the lot. Siren off, but lights flashing. Garrett steps out, hand on his own pistol. Everyone calm down. Sheriff, Vince says, this man just assaulted me. That right, Garrett looks at Dalton. You assault this man, Dalton. I prevented him from drawing a weapon on an unarmed civilian. She was trespassing, Vince says. She was leaving, Dalton says, and then you reach for your gun. Garrett holds up both hands. All right, here's what's going to happen. Riley, you're going home with Dalton. Vince, you and your boys are going back inside, and everyone's going to forget this happened. He assaulted me. I want him arrested. Did anyone actually see an assault, or did they see an old man tackling someone who was reaching for a weapon? Silence. That's what I thought, Garrett says. Now everyone stand down before this turns into something that ends with people in body bags. For a long moment, nobody moves. Then Vince holsters his pistol. Get off my property. Dalton takes Riley's arm, walks her to the sheriff's cruiser. Slowly, deliberately, not showing fear. Behind them, the bikers watch. Angry, humiliated, dangerous. This isn't over, not even close. They get in the cruiser. Garrett drives. Doesn't speak until they're a mile away. What the hell were you thinking, he finally says. She was in danger. So you charged into a nest of armed criminals alone? I wasn't alone. Garrett glances at him. The shot that missed, that was your friend. I don't know what you're talking about. Right. Garrett grips the wheel tighter. Dalton, this ends now. You hear me? No more playing commando. No more vigilante justice. I catch you near that clubhouse again. I'll arrest you myself. Understood. They drive in silence. Drop Riley at her house. Her mother rushes out, hugs her, crying. Then Garrett drives Dalton back to town. Pulls up in front of the pizza shop. One more thing, Garrett says. Whatever you're planning for tonight, don't. Dalton looks at him. How did you? Because I know you. And I know that look. That's the look of a man who's made a decision. Garrett leans closer. Stand down, Dalton, please, before people die. Dalton opens the door, steps out, leans back in. Some things are worth dying for, Garrett. Keeping a good kid safe, that's one of them. He closes the door, walks away. Behind him, he hears Garrett slam his palm against the steering wheel. But the sheriff drives off, because what else can he do? Arrest a man for something he hasn't done yet. Dalton goes inside. Wade and Flint are waiting. Well, Wade says, that was exciting. Too exciting. Riley okay? Shaken, but alive. And now, Dalton looks at the clock. 1,600 hours. In 6 hours, the Red Devils will receive their shipment. And in 6 hours, 3 old men will teach them what it means to be hunted. Now we execute the plan, exactly as discussed. No deviations. Dalton, Wade starts, they know my face now. They know I care about Riley, which means they'll use her as leverage if they get the chance. The only way to prevent that is to make them so scared, so paranoid, that they can't focus on anything but their own survival. That's a dangerous game. I've played dangerous games before. Not at 68. Age is just a number. Tell that to your knees. Despite everything, Dalton almost smiles. Fair point. They spend the remaining hours preparing, checking gear, reviewing the plan, eating a meal that might be their last. At 2,100 hours, they move out. 3 vehicles, 3 routes, converging on the clubhouse from different directions. The countdown reaches 0, and the hunt begins. Night falls over Riverside like a curtain dropping on a stage. No stars. Clouds thick and low, pregnant with snow that hasn't yet decided to fall. The kind of darkness that swallows sound and makes distances deceive. Perfect conditions for ghosts. Dalton sits in his truck 2 miles from the Red Devils clubhouse. Engine off, lights off. Just him and the darkness and the weight of what comes next. His hands rest on the steering wheel. Steady, no tremor. The body remembers even when the mind questions. The radio crackles, Wade's voice barely a whisper. Position 1 ready. I have eyes on the transformer. 3 guards visible, 2 at the front entrance, 1 patrolling the perimeter. Then Flint. Position 2 established. Range to primary building is 870 yards. Wind negligible. I can see heat signatures through the windows. Count 19 bodies inside, 4 more outside. 23, more than they estimated. But plans adapt. Plans always adapt. Dalton keys his radio. Position 3, moving to staging area. Execute in 15 minutes on my mark. 2 clicks acknowledge. No words needed. They've done this dance before. Different country, different enemy, same choreography. Dalton checks his gear. Black tactical pants, black jacket. No body armor. Too heavy, too restrictive. At 68 speed matters more than protection. A dark wool cap, gloves, a small backpack containing road flares fishing line, and the note he wrote this morning. No weapons. That's the agreement he made with himself. This isn't about killing. It's about fear, about making monsters feel what their victims feel. He steps out of the truck. The cold hits him like a fist. October in Montana doesn't mess around. His breath mists in the air. He pulls the cap lower, zips the jacket higher, then he moves. The forest is dense here, pine and fir crowding close. Decades of fallen needles carpet the ground, muffling footsteps. Dalton navigates by memory and instinct. He scouted this route yesterday while Wade and Flint watched the clubhouse. Every tree, every rise, every deadfall that could trip you in the dark. 10 minutes of steady movement brings him to the staging area. A small clearing 200 yards south of the clubhouse. Close enough to act, far enough to disappear. He sets down his backpack, pulls out the road flares, 5 of them, red, bright, impossible to miss. He arranges them in a line, spaces them 20 feet apart, creates a wall of light that will be visible from the clubhouse. But not yet. Timing is everything. His radio crackles. Position 1, I'm at the transformer, waiting for your signal. Position 2, I have clear shots on all exterior targets. Say the word. Dalton checks his watch. 21:45. The shipment is supposed to arrive at 2200. 15 minutes. He keys the radio. All positions stand by. Wait for the package. They wait. 3 old men in the darkness, watching, patient. Patience is what separates professionals from amateurs. Amateurs rush. Professionals wait until the moment is perfect. At 21:58, headlights appear on the access road. A white panel van, moving slowly, cautiously. The van pulls into the clubhouse lot. The side door slides open. 2 men get out. They're not bikers. Wrong clothes, wrong attitude. Dealers from out of town. They move to the back of the van, open the doors. Even from 200 yards, Dalton can see the packages. Wrapped in plastic, dozens of them. This isn't a small shipment. This is a major delivery. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product. The clubhouse door opens. Vince Carver steps out. Behind him, most of the Red Devils. They're excited, animated. Money does that. Makes people stupid, makes them drop their guard. Perfect. Dalton keys his radio. Package has arrived. All targets in the open. Execute in 3, 2, 1, mark. Wade moves first. Somewhere in the darkness to the north, he cuts the power lines. Not with bolt cutters. Too obvious. He uses a technique learned in 1992, demolishing infrastructure in the Gulf. A small charge, precisely placed, makes it look like equipment failure. The lights at the clubhouse die, the pole lamps, the building floods, everything, plunged into darkness. Shouts from the bikers, confusion, flashlights clicking on, phone screens glowing. Dalton lights the first flare, strikes it, watches it bloom red and angry. He plants it in the soft earth, moves to the second, third, fourth, fifth. A line of fire in the darkness, impossible to miss. From the clubhouse, someone yells, "Fire south side! There's a fire!" Exactly as planned. Vince's voice cuts through the chaos. "Ray Dog, take 4 guys and check it out. Henderson, get the generators running. Everyone else, secure the product." They split, just like Dalton knew they would. 5 bikers peel off heading toward the flares, flashlights bobbing, voices calling out. Dalton is already moving, circling east, using the darkness and the distraction. He's 100 yards from the clubhouse now. 75, 50. He can hear the bikers approaching the flares, their voices carrying in the cold air. What the hell is this? Road flares. Someone set road flares. Why would someone set road flares in the middle of the woods? Good question. They're standing there, puzzled, trying to figure it out, which means they're not watching the clubhouse. Dalton reaches the back of the main building. No lights, no guards. Everyone's focused on the front or the flares. He pulls out the note, unfolds it, tapes it to the back door, right at eye level. Impossible to miss. We are watching. We know everything. Leave Riverside or face the consequences. Simple, direct, terrifying. He's turning to leave when he hears it. Footsteps, close, coming around the corner. No time to run, no place to hide. A flashlight beam sweeps the area, catches him full in the face. A biker, young, maybe 25, shocked. Hey, who the hell are... Dalton moves. Not thinking, just reacting. 20 years of training compressed into 2 seconds. He closes the distance. 1 step. 2. The biker fumbles for his pistol. Too slow. Dalton's hand shoots out, grabs the wrist holding the gun, twists. The joint locks. The biker gasps, drops the weapon. Dalton doesn't stop, can't stop. This kid has seen his face. Will raise the alarm. He sweeps the leg. The biker goes down hard, head bouncing off the frozen ground, stunned but not unconscious. Dalton kneels, puts pressure on the carotid. A blood choke, not air, safer. The biker struggles, 5 seconds, 10, then goes limp. Not dead, just sleeping. He'll wake up in a few minutes with a headache and no memory of the last 30 seconds before the choke. Dalton drags him behind a dumpster, checks for a pulse, strong, steady, good. He takes the biker's radio. Might be useful. His own radio crackles, Flint's voice, urgent. Dalton, you've got 2 more coming around the east side. 30 seconds. Damn, Dalton runs, not toward the forest. They'd see him, hear him. Instead, he runs toward the motorcycle lot, ducks between 2 Harleys, crouches low, 2 bikers round the corner, flashlights sweeping. Jake, you back here. Jake, they find him, behind the dumpster, unconscious. Jesus, Jake, wake up. One of them keys his radio. We got a man down east side, Jake's unconscious. Vince's voice crackles back. What happened? Don't know, he's breathing, but he's out cold. Get him inside, everyone full alert, we've got intruders. The 2 bikers lift Jake, carry him toward the building. They're 10 feet away from Dalton. If they turn, if they shine their lights between the bikes, if one of them decides to check the lot, but they don't, too focused on their injured friend, too rattled. They disappear inside. Dalton exhales, slow, controlled. His heart is hammering. Old heart, old body, not built for this anymore. He keys his radio. Package delivered, extracting now. Copy, Wade says. I'm already back at Rally Point Alpha. Same, Flint adds. You need cover. Negative, I'm clear. Dalton moves through the motorcycle lot, keeping low, staying in shadow. He reaches the tree line, melts into the forest. Behind him, the clubhouse is chaos. Generators roaring to life, lights flickering on, men shouting, searching. They find the note within minutes. Someone reads it aloud. The words carry in the night. We are watching. We know everything. Leave Riverside or face the consequences. Silence, then Vince's voice, loud, angry, scared. Who the hell is this? Who's watching us? No one answers, because no one knows, and that's the point. Dalton reaches his truck, starts the engine, drives away. Slow, headlights off until he's back on the main road. Then he flicks them on. Just another vehicle on a Saturday night. He meets Wade and Flint at a rest stop 10 miles outside Riverside. They park next to each other. Get out, stand in the cold. Wade grins. That was either brilliant or the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Little of both, Dalton admits. You took out one of their guys, Flint says. He see your face. Yeah, that's a problem. Maybe, maybe not. Blood chokes cause short-term memory loss. He might not remember. And if he does, Dalton shrugs, then we deal with it. They stand in silence. 3 old men who just poked a hornet's nest and are waiting to see how badly they get stung. Wade breaks the silence. What now? Now we wait, see how they react. They're going to be paranoid. Good. Paranoid people make mistakes. Or they lash out, Flint says quietly. Hurt innocent people to send a message. The thought had occurred to Dalton. It's the risk. You corner an animal, sometimes it bites whoever's closest. We monitor, Dalton says. Watch them. If they make a move toward Riley or anyone else, we intercept. 3 of us can't watch them 24/7. Then we take shifts, round the clock, until this ends. Ends how? Wade asks. Dalton looks at the dark sky, at the clouds hiding the stars. I don't know yet, but it ends. They separate. Wade and Flint to a motel on the edge of town. Dalton back to his apartment above the pizza shop. It's past midnight when he climbs the stairs. Bone-tired, adrenaline crash hitting hard. He's too old for this. His body screams it with every joint that aches, every muscle that protests. He checks his phone. 3 missed calls, all from the same number. Montana State Prison. Marcus Carver. Dalton calls back, accepts the charges. Marcus's voice comes through, strained, worried. Dalton, thank God I've been trying to reach you. I've been busy. I heard, guards talk. Word travels. Something happened at the Red Devils clubhouse tonight. Power cut, fire. Someone left a note. News travels fast. Was it you? Dalton doesn't answer. Jesus Christ, Dalton. What are you doing? What you asked me to do, trying to save your son. By declaring war on his entire crew. By making him afraid. Fear changes people, sometimes for the better. Marcus is quiet. Then Vince called me. Hour ago. I've never heard him like that. Scared, really scared. Good. He thinks it's a rival gang. The Mongols, maybe, or the Hells Angels. He's talking about calling in reinforcements from other chapters. Escalating. Dalton's blood goes cold. How many reinforcements? Could be 20, could be 50. Depends how scared he is. This is bad. The plan was to isolate them, make them paranoid. Instead, Vince is circling the wagons, bringing in more firepower. Can you talk him down? Dalton asks. Me, I'm in prison. He barely listens to me. You're his father. He doesn't know that. Not really. I told him I was his brother, remember? And brothers he can ignore. Fathers might have had a chance. Dalton rubs his eyes. Tired. So tired. What if you told him the truth? What truth? That you're his father, that you lied, that you're sorry. Marcus laughs, bitter, broken. You think that would help? You think learning his brother is actually his father, who abandoned him, would make him less angry, less violent? It might make him think, make him question the life he's built. Or it might make him worse, might make him so angry he burns Riverside to the ground just to hurt me. Dalton stands, paces. The apartment is small. 4 steps and you hit a wall. Marcus, I need you to do something. Not for me, for Vince, for the kid you abandoned. What? Tell him the truth. All of it. Who you are, what you did, why you ended up in prison. Give him the one thing you've never given him. What's that? Honesty. Silence on the line. Long, heavy. And if it breaks him, Marcus asked quietly, then at least he'll know, and knowing the truth is better than living a lie. More silence then. I'll think about it. Don't think too long. Time's running out. Dalton ends the call, sits on his bed, head in his hands. The plan is falling apart. What was supposed to be a surgical strike, precise and contained, is metastasizing into something bigger, more dangerous. He needs to adapt, needs to think. His phone buzzes, text from an unknown number. This is Sheriff Boone. We need to talk. Now, meet me at the diner, alone. Dalton stares at the message. Meeting the sheriff at 0100 in the morning is either very good or very bad. No middle ground. He texts back, on my way. The diner is the only thing open at this hour, 24 hours. Been that way since 1967. Coffee's terrible, pie's worse, but the booths are private and the owner minds his own business. Sheriff Boone sits in the back corner, 2 cups of coffee already on the table. He looks tired, older than his 55 years. Dalton slides into the booth, takes the coffee. It's as bad as he remembers. You've got a problem, Garrett says without preamble. Just one. Vince Carver filed a report, says someone attacked the clubhouse tonight, cut their power, set fires, left threatening notes, and assaulted one of his guys. That's quite an accusation. Is it because the guy who got assaulted says it was an old man, gray hair, blue eyes, strong for his age? Sounds like half the men in Montana. He also said the old man moved like military, like someone who'd been trained. Garrett leans forward. Want to know what I think? Not particularly. I think you and your SEAL buddies decided to play vigilante. I think you went to that clubhouse. I think you're trying to scare them into leaving town. And if I was, then you're an idiot, because Vince is calling in help. Real help. Outlaw bikers from 3 states. I'm getting reports they're already on the road. Could be here by tomorrow night. Dalton's jaw tightens. Marcus wasn't exaggerating. How many? Intel says 40, maybe 50. Jesus. Yeah, so whatever clever plan you had, it just went sideways. Instead of scaring them off, you've started a war. And the first casualties are going to be civilians. The people you're trying to protect. Dalton stares into his coffee, seeing the reflection of a man who thought he was smarter than he was. What do you want me to do, Garrett? Leave tonight. Take your friends and disappear. I'll handle Vince. How? I'll tell him we're investigating, that we have leads, that we're taking it seriously. Buy enough time for cooler heads to prevail. You think he'll believe you? I think he's desperate enough to try, but only if you're gone. Only if he doesn't see you as a threat anymore. Dalton shakes his head. I can't leave, not with Riley still in danger. Riley's safe. I've got a deputy watching her house. If anyone comes near her, we'll know. One deputy against 50 bikers. Better than 3 old men against 50. He's right. Dalton knows he's right. But everything in him rebels against walking away, against leaving Riley, against letting Vince win. Give me 24 hours, Dalton says. For what? To end this. My way. Your way gets people killed. Maybe, but doing nothing definitely gets Riley killed. Or someone like her. You know I'm right. Garrett pinches the bridge of his nose. What are you planning? I'm going to give Vince what he wants, which is a target, someone to blame, someone to focus all his anger on. Understanding dawns in Garrett's eyes. You're going to offer yourself. Yes, that's suicide. Or it's the end, one way or another. Dalton, I'm 68 years old, Garrett. I've lived longer than most SEALs, longer than I probably deserved. If I die protecting a good kid from bad people, that's a death I can live with. You mean die with? Semantics. Garrett slumps back, defeated. I can't let you do this. You can't stop me. They sit in silence. The diner hums around them. Fluorescent lights flickering. The smell of burnt coffee and old grease. Finally, Garrett says, if you're doing this, do it smart. Don't just walk in there and get yourself killed for nothing. I won't. And Dalton, if this goes bad, if you need backup, you call me. Understand, I don't care what laws you've broken. I don't care about jurisdiction or protocol. You call me. Dalton meets his eyes, sees the oath underneath. The promise of a good man to do the right thing, even when the right thing is illegal. I will. They shake hands. Dalton leaves first, steps out into the cold. The sky is lighter now, not dawn yet, but close. That gray period between night and day when the world holds its breath. He drives back to his apartment. Wade and Flint are waiting. They'd gotten his text, emergency meeting. He tells them everything, the reinforcements, the timeline, the plan forming in his mind. When he's done, Wade whistles low. You want to trade yourself for the girl. Not trade, distract. Make Vince focus on me instead of escalating. How? I contact him. Tell him I'm the one who attacked his clubhouse. Offer to meet, alone. Talk this through. He'll kill you, Flint says flatly. Maybe, or maybe he'll listen. Why would he listen? Because I saved his father's life. Because I'm offering him a way out that doesn't involve more violence. Because deep down under all the anger and the drugs and the leather, there's still a scared kid who wants to believe people can be better than this. Wade and Flint exchange looks. That's a lot of maybes, Wade says. It's all I've got. Flint leans forward. And if he doesn't listen, if he decides to make an example of you, then you make sure Riley stays safe. That's the mission. That was always the mission. No, Wade says, voice hard, final. The mission is all of us making it out alive. We don't leave men behind. We're not on a mission anymore, Wade. We're not SEALs. We're just old men trying to do one last good thing. Then we do it together. Dalton looks at them, Wade with his weathered face and stubborn eyes, Flint with his sniper's patience and unwavering loyalty. Brothers, not by blood, by something deeper. All right, Dalton says, together, but smart. No heroics, no last stands. Agreed, Wade says. Flint nods. They spend the next 2 hours planning. Not a raid this time, a negotiation, with contingencies, with exit strategies, with the understanding that this might be the last plan they ever make. At 0600, Dalton makes the call, uses the radio he took from the unconscious biker, switches it to the Red Devil's frequency. Vincent Carver, this is Dalton Grimes. I'm the one who came to your clubhouse last night. I'm the one who left the note, and I want to talk. Silence, then Vince's voice, rough from no sleep and too much anger. Where are you? Oh, doesn't matter. What matters is I'm willing to meet, face to face, no weapons, just talk. Why would I do that? Because reinforcements from 3 states are expensive. Because the more people involved, the more attention you draw. And attention from law enforcement is bad for business. More silence. Vince is thinking, calculating. What do you want? I want you to leave Riley Brennan alone, forever. And I want you to think real hard about whether this life is worth dying for. You threatening me? I'm offering you a choice. The same choice someone offered your father 16 years ago in Fallujah. A chance to do better. Vince's breath catches. You know my father? I saved his life. He told you about a Navy SEAL who pulled him out of a firefight. That was me. The silence stretches. Long, tense. Prove it, Vince says. March 2004, second week. You were maybe 11 years old. Your father was Force Recon Marines. got separated from his unit during an engagement. 3 hostiles moving on his position. I intervened, extracted him. He said he owed me, said he'd never forget. Another long pause. He never told me the SEAL's name, because I asked him not to. SEALs don't do what we do for recognition. We do it because it's right. If you saved him, why is he in prison? Because saving someone's life doesn't guarantee they'll use it well. Your father made choices, bad choices, and he's paying for them. But you haven't gone that far yet. You can still choose different. You don't know anything about me. I know you hit a 22-year-old girl over cold pizza. I know you've built an empire on poison and fear. I know you're scared right now because someone's watching you and you don't know who or why. And I know that somewhere under all that anger is a man who wants to be better but doesn't know how. Vince doesn't respond, but Dalton can hear him breathing, can hear the doubt. Meet me, Dalton says. Noon today. The old grain elevator on Highway 12. Neutral ground. You bring 2 guys, I'll bring 2. We talk, that's all, just talk. And if I don't want to talk, then this ends with a lot of people getting hurt. Maybe you, maybe me. Definitely civilians who don't deserve it. Is that what you want? The radio crackles, static, silence, then near noon. Grain elevator. But if this is a trap, old man, I'll burn Riverside to the ground. It's not a trap, it's a chance. Don't waste it. Dalton ends the transmission, sets down the radio. Wade looks at him. Think he'll show? Yeah. Think he'll listen? I don't know, but I have to try. The hours crawl by. Slow, oppressive. Dalton tries to sleep. Can't. Tries to eat. No appetite. Just sits in his apartment watching the clock. At 10 a.m., his phone rings. Marcus Carver. I heard, Marcus says. Vince told me you're meeting him. Word travels. Dalton, please, don't do this. Vince he's not reasonable when he's angry, and you've made him very angry. I've also given him something to think about. That's more than anyone else has done. I could tell him, Marcus says quietly, about being his father. Maybe that would help. Maybe, but it needs to come from you, not me. I'm scared, Dalton. I'm scared I'll make it worse. You can't make it worse than it already is. The boy thinks he's alone, thinks his brother is in prison and everyone else is either an enemy or an employee. Give him family, real family. That might be the thing that saves him. Marcus is quiet. Then, I'll call him. Before you meet, I'll tell him everything. Good. And Dalton, thank you for trying. For not just killing him and being done with it. I've killed enough people in my life, Marcus. I'd like to save one more before I'm done. He ends the call. At 11:30, Dalton, Wade, and Flint load into the truck. They drive to the grain elevator. It's an old structure, been abandoned since 1998 when the farming cooperative went bankrupt. Concrete silos reaching toward the sky, rusted conveyor belts, broken windows. Perfect for an ambush, which is why Flint gets there early. Sets up overwatch on a silo roof. 800 yards of clear sight lines. If Vince brings more than 2 guys, Flint will know. If someone tries to flank them, Flint will know. Noon arrives. The sun is high but weak. Clouds threatening snow. The temperature hovers just above freezing. Dalton stands in front of the main building. Wade 10 feet to his left. Both of them unarmed. As promised. At 12:03, motorcycles rumble in the distance. Getting closer. 3 bikes, not 2, 3. Vince is testing boundaries already. They pull up, engines cutting. Vince dismounts. Behind him, 2 bikers, Ray Dog and Henderson. Both armed, pistols visible in shoulder holsters. Vince walks forward, stops 20 feet from Dalton. He looks different in daylight. Younger, more human. Less like a villain from a movie. You came, Dalton says. Had to see the legendary SEAL my father talked about. Vince's voice is hard, controlled, but underneath there's something else. Uncertainty. He called me this morning, told me things I didn't want to hear. He told you the truth. Yeah, that he's not my brother, that he's my father, that he abandoned me and my mother, that every story he told me about being a war hero was a lie. Vince's jaw tightens, eyes wet. You know what that does, learning your whole life is built on lies? I can imagine. No, you can't, because you're the hero in his story, the SEAL who saved him, the good guy. I'm just the bastard son he didn't want. That's not true. Isn't it? He chose the Marines over me, chose crime over me, chose prison over me. Every choice he made, he chose something else. Dalton steps forward, slowly, non-threatening. Your father made terrible choices, but one thing he said this morning is true. He loves you, and he doesn't want you to make the same mistakes. So he sent you to save me, like you saved him. No one sent me. I'm here because a good kid got hurt, and I'm tired of watching good people suffer while bad people prosper. Riley, Vince says. The delivery girl. Her name is Riley Brennan. She's 22, studying to be a doctor, works 3 jobs to help pay for her brother's heart surgery, and you hit her because pizza was cold. Vince looks away. I was drunk, angry. I didn't mean. Doesn't matter what you meant. Matters what you did. They stand in silence. 2 men, different generations, different lives, same crossroads. What do you want from me? Vince asks. I want you to leave Riverside. Take the Red Devils somewhere else. Somewhere Riley and people like her don't have to be afraid. And if I don't, then this ends badly, for both of us. Vince laughs, bitter. You know I called in reinforcements, right? 50 guys from 3 states. All of them meaner than me. All of them ready to go to war. I know. That's why I'm asking you to call them off. Send them home. End this before it starts. Why would I do that? Because violence only leads to more violence. Because at the end of that road is prison or death. And because somewhere inside you is the man your father could have been, the man he wanted to be. Vince's hands ball into fists, trembling. You think you know me? Think because you saved my father, you get to lecture me? I think you're angry and scared and looking for someone to tell you it's okay to be better. So I'm telling you, it's okay. You can choose different. Starting right now. For a moment, Dalton sees it. The crack in the armor. The boy underneath the biker. The son who wanted a father and got abandonment instead. Then Henderson speaks up. Vince, we should go. This is bullshit. The moment shatters. The armor repairs. Vince steps back. You've got balls, old man. I'll give you that. But you don't get to waltz into my life and tell me who to be. He turns, walks toward his bike. Dalton calls after him. Your father saved my life too, in ways he didn't know. After my wife died, I was lost, building that pizza shop trying to keep her memory alive that kept me going. And every good person who walks through that door reminds me why it matters. Riley is one of those people. Don't take that away from the world. Vince stops, doesn't turn around. Stay out of my way, Dalton Grimes. Next time we meet, I won't be this polite. He mounts his bike. The 3 of them ride off, engines roaring, dust rising. Wade walks over. Well, that went about as well as expected. He didn't shoot me. I'm calling it a win. What now? Dalton watches the motorcycles disappear. Now we see if anything I said stuck. They drive back to town, the weight of failure heavy in the truck. Dalton tried. He tried to reach Vince, tried to offer a better path. But you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. Back at the pizza shop, Dalton finds Riley waiting outside. She looks better. The swelling on her face has gone down. The bruise is yellowing, healing. You shouldn't be here, he says. I heard you met with him. With Vince. Is it over? I don't know yet. Riley steps closer. Mr. Grimes. Dalton, I need to tell you something. What? This morning Vince came to my house while my mother was at work. He didn't hurt me. He just apologized. Said he was sorry for hitting me. Said he was drunk and stupid and it wouldn't happen again. Dalton's heart skips. He apologized. Yeah, and he gave me this. She holds out an envelope. Thick, heavy. Dalton opens it. Inside cash. Hundreds. He counts quickly. $5,000. He said it's for my brother. For Liam's surgery. Said he knows what it's like to grow up without a father. And he doesn't want Liam to grow up without a sister. Something in Dalton's chest loosens. Not much. Not victory. But something. When did this happen? 11 this morning. Hour before you met him. After Marcus's call. After Vince learned the truth about his father. The truth changed him. Not completely, not overnight. But enough. Enough to apologize. Enough to help. Enough to start. Keep the money, Dalton says. Use it for Liam. But keep it, Riley. You earned it by being brave enough to forgive. She hugs him. Quick. Fierce. Then pulls back. Thank you. For everything. For protecting me. For caring. That's what family does. She smiles. Yeah, I guess it is. She leaves. And Dalton stands in front of his pizza shop. The place Sarah wanted him to build. The place where people feel safe. His phone buzzes. Text from an unknown number. This is Vince. Called off the reinforcements. Told them it was a false alarm. Red Devils are leaving Riverside. Heading to Wyoming. New chapter. Fresh start. Don't know if it'll stick, but I'm trying. Thanks for not giving up on me. My father said you never gave up on anyone. Now I know why. Dalton reads it twice. Then shows Wade and Flint. I'll be damned, Wade says. You actually did it. We did it. All of us. So it's over, Flint asks. Yeah, it's over. That night, Dalton reopens the pizza shop. Saturday dinner rush. It's not much, 15 orders, but it's normal. It's safe. Riley comes in to work. Her mother insisted she rest, but Riley wanted to be here. Wanted normalcy. At 7 p.m., the door chimes. Dalton looks up. Sheriff Garrett Boone, out of uniform, off duty. Heard the Red Devils are leaving town, Garrett says. News travels. Want to tell me how that happened? Sometimes people just decide to move. Fresh start and all that. Garrett studies him. You're a pain in my ass, Dalton Grimes. So I've been told. But you're also the reason a good kid doesn't have to be afraid anymore. So I guess that counts for something. They shake hands, understanding passing between them. Some things don't need to be said, don't need to be official. Justice isn't always legal. But sometimes it's right. The weeks pass. Riley's brother Liam has his surgery. It goes perfectly. He's home in 5 days, back to school in 3 weeks. Riley graduates at the top of her class, medical school in the fall, pediatric cardiology. She'll save kids like Liam, give them futures they wouldn't have had. Vince Carver stays in Wyoming, starts a legitimate motorcycle repair shop, still rough around the edges, still angry sometimes, but trying, every day trying. Marcus Carver continues his sentence, but now he talks to his son every week. Real conversations, father and son, 18 years too late, but better than never. And Dalton Grimes makes pizza every day, opening at 6 a.m., closing at 9 p.m., serving his town, honoring his wife's memory. One evening in December, Riley brings Liam to the shop. The boy is 10, small for his age, but healthy. A scar on his chest from surgery, but alive. Mr. Grimes, Liam says, my sister says you're a hero. Dalton kneels down, eye level with the boy. I'm not a hero, kiddo. I'm just a guy who makes pizza. But you saved my sister. Your sister saved herself by being brave, by forgiving. That's the real heroism. Liam thinks about this. Then, can I have a slice of pepperoni? Dalton laughs. Yeah, you can have a slice. He watches them eat. Riley and Liam. Sister and brother. Family. Safe. Happy. Whole. Outside snow begins to fall. First of the season. Montana winter arriving right on schedule. Wade and Flint stop by. They do that now, every Friday. Brothers sharing pizza and stories in silence. You ever think about the old days? Wade asks. Sometimes. Miss it. Dalton looks around his shop. At the families eating. At the kids laughing. At Riley and Liam at the corner booth. No, he says. I've got everything I need right here. They eat in comfortable silence. 3 old warriors who found peace in a small Montana town. The door chimes. Customers come and go. Life continues. And Dalton Grimes, 68 years old, former Navy SEAL pizza shop owner, keeps his promise to a wife who died 15 years ago. He made a place where people feel safe. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's everything.